Good afternoon, Clinton Middle School families. Today's date is Friday, July the 31st. And as I sit here, we are on the cusp of the beginning of a new school year. And if you are new to Clinton Middle School, if you're a rising sixth grader or a family of a rising sixth grader, or if you're a new student here, let me be one of the first to welcome you. We're excited to have you here. And if you are returning to us as a seventh or an eighth grader, we cannot wait to see you as well on Tuesday. Remember, the first day of school is Tuesday, August the 4th. But before we get there, I know that there are always questions that we have as parents and as students. And so my hope is that over the next few minutes, I'm going to answer a lot of that need to know information. And if there are any questions that you have, you can certainly follow up with me either through connecting through social media or emailing, giving a call, swinging by the office on Monday, and we'll help you out with whatever questions you may have. I think that one of the first things I want to start with is something that is very important to us, and that is it is our mission statement. And this is what we live by at Clinton Middle School. It is important to us. We communicate it to kids every morning, and we understand that we have three responsibilities that we must do each and every day. Number one, we've got to create a safe learning environment. That is physical safety, it's emotional safety. We are responsible for that. We also understand that once we've created a safe environment, focus on what is the root of education, and that is to create an environment where your teachers can teach and students can learn. And then we also understand that middle school is just a part of life, and it is not a student's entire life. And because of that, we want to help them to understand what opportunities are available for them as they move past middle school into high school and beyond. And so you will find that there are all sorts of experiences, both in the course of a school day and outside of the traditional school day, that help to shape the opportunities and the experiences that students at Clinton Middle School have. Of course, as we get the year started, there are some important people that you need to know. Tamika Williams and Audrey Sanford are in our front office. Coach Daryl Suber is our attendance officer, and he communicates when there are any questions about attendance, as does Miss Sanford. Of course, you have met me. I am Jeff Parks. I am the principal here at Clinton Middle School, and we have three wonderful assistant principals. Dr. Kylie Harrell is in 8th grade. Dr. Katrina Bigham is in 6th grade, and Mr. Michael Randall is in 7th grade. They are our three assistant principals. And we have two guidance counselors that are wonderful at what they do. Erica Coates serves our 6th grade students. Sonia Atkinson serves our 8th grade students. And then our 7th grade students are split, with the first half of the alphabet being with Miss Coates and the latter part of the alphabet being with Miss Atkinson here. So a couple of things that I want you to do as a parent is I want you to stay connected. And I know that as your student gets older, there is a temptation to become less connected. Please do not do that. We want you to be an active participant in your students' education and in what is happening in our building. So let me show you some ways you can do that. Join our School Improvement Council. It is a combination of parents and teachers, educators, and community members who talk about the short-term and long-term goals of our school. Stay connected with our newsletter, Paw Prints, that comes out every Monday. Follow us on social media. Listen to the all calls that we put out every Sunday afternoon at around 5:30, and join those virtual parent meetings that we do on the final Monday, or the fourth Monday, I should say, of each month, which happen at 6:30. We want you to be a part of what we do here. We want you to be involved. And I also should say, as part of staying connected, come to our school and get Parent Portal. It's going to connect you in PowerSchool and the world that we live in today. You can do it through the desktop. You can do it through your phone, and it'll allow you to stay up to date on the grades of your students there. So as we get ready to begin the school year, people have questions about what does morning arrival look like at the middle school. I think the first thing I want to tell you is just be patient. The first few days, there will be a lot of kinks that will get worked out. Everybody's figuring things out. We talk about our number one priority is safety. We do not care about speed on the first couple of days. We are much more concerned about the safety part, and then we know that the speed will arrive with the safety part. But our doors open every single morning at 7:30. Our instructional day begins at 8 o'clock. But I do want you as a parent to understand we do not provide supervision before 7:30. Once 7:30 arrives, we open the doors and we will take care of your students at that point. If you are arriving by car and it is after 8 o'clock, my request is that you park in the front of our building and escort your student in through the front of our building. If you're arriving before 8 a.m. and you're coming by car, the gym doors remain open, and I'll show you a little bit more about this in just a moment, all the way up until 8 a.m. We will send your student in through the gym doors there. As they come in, if they are a sixth grader, they go one direction. Seventh and eighth graders go a different direction. And then they will sit with their first period class in our big gym area for seventh and eighth, and in our old gym area for sixth graders. And it begins at around 7:50. Our teachers come down to the gym, the first period teachers, I should say. They will escort students back up into the building and to their first period classes. And I should also point out that every single student in our school eats breakfast for free. So if you are rushing out the door without the opportunity to get breakfast for your student, do not worry. Don't fret about that. We will take care of that here at school. And then if you are a bus rider, you're going to get dropped off on the bus ramp. You come in through one door and we direct you to the gyms where the process is exactly the same there as what we do for our car riders as far as where you go and where it is that you sit. I am not the most creative or artistic person, but I hope that this may help you out. If you can follow along with my mouse here, you have our old gym and new gym. This is our car rider line. You have our tennis courts, and if I were to create this right here, this is where you would find Wilder Stadium. Just for drop-off purposes, we ask you to use all the way up to the front edge of the band room building right here. That gives us more opportunities to unload students and more opportunities to get them in the door. And then all students are going to enter through this area right here. There is a door that sits right there between the new gym and the old gym. It sits right there in the locker room area. If you're familiar with our school, or if you went to high school when Clinton Middle School was Clinton High School. And then that will be the point where we split our students between sixth grade and seventh and eighth graders. Do help us by avoid dropping off on North Adair Street. We cannot guarantee the safety of your student. And unfortunately, a lot of times traffic is heavy there, and sometimes people go too fast there. And I want to make sure that we keep your student's safety and the safety of your family in the forefront of our minds. So you can help us by not dropping off on North Adair Street there. Our dismissal begins at 3 o'clock every day. We do a staggered and structured dismissal. So we don't move the entire school at one time. We move in 3 different spots. And so most of the time, once we get everybody where they need to be, even some students may trickle out before 3:06 from the car line. Everybody really begins moving at about 3:06. Our bus riders, they are assigned to a specific area in the school. They don't all congregate on the bus ramp. We call for them bus by bus as their bus arrives on campus. And our car riders are all in the new gym. Our walkers are all in the new gym, and they are seated by grade level. So our sixth grade is in one section, seventh in another, eighth in another. And cars enter just as you would in the morning. And I may have neglected to mention this. You come in off Baldwin Circle, follow around the back of our building as if you were parking for a football game outside of Wilder Stadium. And then you follow that line just like you would with drop off. We ask students to pay attention to the screen in the new gym, because the way we let them know that their ride is here is we put that on a screen there, and then they will come out and hopefully their ride will be there, or at least close to being ready to pick them up. And our walkers are the last to be dismissed. We dismiss them at approximately 3:25, maybe a couple of minutes earlier, just depending on how quickly the car line moves. And we ask them to walk up North Adair Street towards Presbyterian College. The reason we do that is we do not allow people to pick up in the park. And we try to ask you not to pick up in the front circle. You're better off, just to be honest with you, to get in the car line, because by the time you waited in the front circle, you probably already would have been through that car line. So that gives you an idea about what afternoon dismissal looks like. And of course, one of the things that you're going to want to make note of is that if you do have a car rider, it is a great idea to have a car tag. If you have had a student in the district, if you had a student at Clinton Middle School last year, if you've got multiple students, this car tag is used by every school in District 56 from MS Bailey all the way up to Clinton High School. So you might not necessarily need a new car tag. If you only have one student at Clinton Middle School, there's really nothing you need to do. Put their name in big letters that are clear to see. We have the car tags in our front office for pickup. We did pass them out at scheduled pickup day. If you do have multiple students across schools, I would encourage you to put their grade, because that helps us, because when you come in the line and we see the student's name pop up, Jeff Parks, grade 7, we know that that's different than Emily Parks, grade 3. So help us out with that. If you don't have a car tag, or you forget it one day, or you've got a grandparent picking up one day, anything will really work. You could take a sheet of paper and write the name. And of course, we have people that are out there getting the names, and so you can always tell them. But the car tags help things to run just a tad bit more efficiently. This is what afternoon dismissal looks like. It's a very similar diagram to what you were able to see with the morning arrival. And our students come out the same exact doors as they went in that morning. And we just ask you to park and wait, and hopefully we get your student to you very quickly. But again, our number one priority is to get your student to you safely. So keep that in mind. One of the big things that parents always ask, and for our 7th and 8th graders, they're already familiar with this, but what do hallway transitions look like? So first of all, I want you to know what happens before there is a hallway transition. Every core class, that's the academic classes of math, science, social studies, and ELA, has a designated time for a restroom break. So in 7th grade, they're going to take a moment. 6th grade, they're going to take a moment. 8th grade, they're going to take a moment where they say, okay, we're going to pause. We're all going to go into the hallway. And if you need to use the restroom, you have the opportunity to use the restroom. We try to keep that in place, because when students transition to classes, so I'm leaving one class and going to another, our restrooms are not open. If your student needs to use the restroom, see the nurse, go to the guidance counselor, head to the front office for some specific purpose. We have a system called SmartPass. Kids are familiar with it. If they're not, they'll become familiar with it, where they ask their teacher if they can request a pass. They request a pass, and then that manages the hallway traffic to ensure that there aren't a lot of kids in the hallway at a time, or that the people that they need to see are there to be able to see them. We give students 2 minutes to go from point A to point B. That seems like it's not a lot, trust me, even though our building is big. In this building, everybody can get where they need to within that 2-minute window. We ask them to move with a purpose. And then most of the time, other than that, students are escorted. Beginning of the day, end of the day, lunch, there are escorts that take them from point A to point B. So I want you to just understand that we take hallway transitions very serious. It is a part of creating a safe and orderly environment. And we know that the way we set up our transitions allows us to do that. Our cell phone policy is something I want you to be familiar with, because in my mind, this is the thing that parents oftentimes and students oftentimes have the most questions about. So our cell phone policy is created with every single part of our mission statement in mind: the safety, the learning, and what their future looks like. And I do want to let you know that our smartphone or our cell phone device also includes not just cell phones, but it could be earbuds, AirPods, it's smartwatches, it's gaming systems. So all of those things fall under the umbrella of what we're talking about when we talk about our cell phone policy. Our expectation is that from the time our students enter the building until the time that they exit the building, their cell phones are turned off and out of sight. Not in a back pocket, not in a hoodie pocket, not in my front pocket where it's sticking out, but we want them to put their phones in their book bag and we want them to be turned off. Students don't need phones at school. They have email to touch base with you. If there is an emergency, we're going to contact you. There are lots of resources. If you call, especially early in the day, it's easy for us to get a message to them. If it's later in the day, I just want to warn you, with transportation, it can be a little bit more challenging. But we have a system set up in order to make sure that students get the information that they need from you. If students ever need to use a cell phone, and this sometimes will happen at dismissal, we ask them to ask one of the adults in the room. Raise your hand, talk with the principal, talk with an assistant principal, talk with the guidance counselor, and just say, hey, I need to use my phone. I'm not sure how I'm getting home today. I usually ride a bus, but I think my mom told me I'm going to be a car rider this morning, and we can do that. But if you use a phone without permission, the consequences are as follows. It begins with a warning that it's 1 day of lunch detention, 1 day of after school detention, which is Tuesday and Thursdays for about an hour and 15 minutes, 1 day of ISS, 2 days of ISS, and then 1 day of OSS. We know that phones are a part of the world that we live in today, but they also frequently interfere with our ability to create the learning environment that we want to and the safe environment that we want to. And so because of that, we ask you to make sure you have a conversation with your student about appropriate cell phone usage. When we talk about the dress code, shorts are okay. However, we ask that they're fingertip length. And just for the purpose of this, I'm going to stand up. And so when we talk about fingertip length, we ask students to put their hands straight down. And if they are wearing shorts, the shorts must be at least fingertip length or longer. Holes in the pants are okay. So I understand that the style that we have today is that a lot of times they have holes in jeans. Totally okay. We're fine with that. As long as if those holes are above fingertip length, they have something underneath those pants to cover it. So if there is a hole above fingertip length and we can see skin, then that is an issue. So because of that, we ask them to make sure that any holes are below fingertip length. Do not wear pajamas, pajama pants. Please don't bring blankets to school. No crop tops are allowed. No clothing that objectifies a specific gender or that promotes alcohol or drug use. We do not want to see underwear. If your student wears a hood, which is very popular with middle school students, let them know that we don't allow hoods to be worn in the building. That includes hallways and classrooms. If students are wearing a hood in the building, we ask them to take that hood off and exchange it for a long sleeve t-shirt or a long sleeve sweatshirt, something that doesn't have the hood that will get them in trouble. So if you think the hood will be a problem, please have that discussion with your student. When we talk about vaping, we have consequences that are very severe for vaping. We really care about the long-term health of our students, and because of that, we have a partnership with Gateway Counseling. If students are using or in possession of vapes, tobacco devices, whatever, we will contact you about the opportunity to put them through a tobacco and vaping education counseling program. It's held here on our campus at Clennon Middle School. We do it 2 days a month, and it is to help students to understand how vaping and making other similar choices can potentially hurt them and adversely impact their future. I do want you as a parent to understand, though, that if your student is caught with a vape, there still are consequences, just as there are for any illegal substance. So they still will be punished. They still potentially could be recommended for expulsion and or an alternative placement. So please make sure that you're doing at home, having those conversations that you need to, and we'll reinforce what you're saying at home here at school, because we want our students to live long, healthy lives, and we understand that vaping oftentimes gets in is a problem with that, doesn't connect with that. We also this year have a partnership with Rise Prevention Services out of Malden. They contacted us back in the spring. We've had several meaningful conversations over the last several months, and they focus on creating a program for middle school students by bringing in mentors, by bringing in people throughout the community, by connecting with Clinton High School to bring in students in order to help students make healthy choices that cater to their social emotional growth. We offer this for sixth graders right now. The goal is that in the next 3 years, it will become a part of every grade level. There are parts of the program that are open to seventh and eighth grade. You can certainly look into that program for additional information. They have a terrific website that if you were to Google Rise Prevention, you'll be able to see that. But as a parent, we understand that this may not be for you, that sometimes those are conversations that we as parents think are better to have at home. That way we can control the narrative of that message. And if that is your philosophy as a parent, we respect that and value that. And so if you are interested in more information, you can contact me. But if you want to opt out of the program, you can contact me as well, and we'll share information about how it is that you can do that. I talked a little bit about SmartPass and about the safety measures that we take. We also have vape detectors in restrooms throughout the building. They let us know immediately if there is vaping that happens. We have metal detectors that we use throughout at the entry points to the building in the morning. And we also, in order to protect your student, ask again that if you're arriving after 8 a.m., that you sign them in. We have weekly parent updates that you're going to want to pay attention to. As a parent, I think this is a wonderful thing. Your student is going to have one of these within the first couple of weeks of school. We will give this to them. It is a very simple folder that just has a couple of pockets on the inside. It's colorful because we want it to stand out. And every morning, beginning in mid-August, after we get the first couple of weeks of school out of the way, we spend part of our morning meeting where students reflect on their grades, reflect on their attendance, and they prioritize the week ahead. We call this the Big Rocks. This is our Leader in Me philosophy that we have in our school. And you don't have to do anything with this. You don't have to sign it. But I think it's wonderful because as a parent, you can ask to see this every single day, and your kid should have it in their book bag. And it is a great way to stay connected to what they're doing. We ask students to update it. So if you find out on Tuesday that you have a quiz on Friday, it's an opportunity for you to pull this out, pull the paper out, write it down. And as a parent, if you ask every night or every other night to see this, you're going to have a really good idea about what your kid has coming up in a classroom. So I would encourage you to make sure that you check that out, because I think that it is a wonderful thing that we do here. Attendance is super important, guys. Please help us out with this. Like in the short term, when your kid is here, they do better. I spent the summer looking at our test data, and our kids that are at school do well, and our kids that have attendance issues typically struggle academically. But beyond that, we know that attendance is the way that we create the habits that help us as individuals to be successful in the future and at our jobs. And so just understand, if your student's not at school, we're going to call you. We're going to ask you for excuses, for parent notes. If it is a significant issue, we're going to create an attendance intervention plan. If it becomes an even bigger issue after that, we're going to turn it over to the solicitor's office, and it may be that your student ends up in court. If you need to send excuses, you can visit our website. And we also understand attendance is a two-way street, so we want to reward kids. And so we at the middle school do semester exams. We have them at the end of the first semester, at the end of the second semester, and we tell our students, hey guys, great news. If you are at school and you're doing what you need to in the classroom, you can exempt your exams. You get an early start on Christmas break, and you get an early start on the summer. And you can check out that information there so you know what that looks like and what the policy is. But I just want to say one thing that I think sixth grade parents should know. Middle school is different. We take attendance for every class period. I know in elementary school, you're typically marked, like if you're here for half a day, you get credit. We are very different. So it is entirely possible for your student to miss a couple of hours and they would get some credit, but not total credit. So just understand that there. Some key dates that are coming up. Tuesday, August the 4th is our first day of school. Then we have DRC beacon testing. That's how we use a benchmark to see where your kids are right now and how they grow over the course of the year. That's Tuesday, August the 18th and Wednesday, August the 19th. We have open house on Thursday, August the 20th. That's going to be from 5 until 6:30. The fall sports parent meeting, I need to make a change on this. That is not 6 o'clock. That's actually going to be 5:30 for the fall sports parent meeting. That's on the night of open house, so you can knock out both. Monday, September the 17th is our Labor Day holiday. Monday, September the 14th is a late arrival day. That's new this year. Our kids will be here at 10 o'clock that morning instead of 8 o'clock. So make note of that. And if you're thinking way ahead, a couple of months down the road, Thursday, October the 1st is an early release day for our students, and we do parent conferences that afternoon and then again on Friday, October the 2nd. And I also need to point out to you, fall sports begin next week and students need a physical. One other thing I want to wrap up with here as we finish up this meeting virtually is this. Please encourage your students to eat school lunch. We have a terrific cafeteria, a wonderful cafeteria staff, and regardless of whether you decide to pack a lunch, your kid can eat for free. We have free lunch. And one of the things that you actually use to help out with is this. If your student comes through the lunch line, they get a lunch, but they don't want to eat it or they don't want to eat everything, we can help out other students. Unfortunately, what rules tell us is we can't like give students 2 lunches necessarily, but what we can do, give them 1 free lunch, and then whatever their friends and their fellow students may have, it's a great opportunity to share and to help out. So I just say that as a point to ask your students to eat lunch, even if they bring a lunch box, because they can go through the line, they can get a lunch, and then we can make sure it gets to someone who needs it, a student who needs it, who might want an extra meal that day or might need a little bit extra. So I am excited about Tuesday. I appreciate your time. I know that on the weekend before school starts back, we're all busy and we all have a lot of priorities that we're trying to balance. Please feel free after watching this to reach out to me through email, give me a phone call, swing by the school on Monday, whatever it is we can do to help you out. We are excited for a terrific 2026-2027 school year, and we look forward to seeing your students at 8 a.m. on Monday, or excuse me, not Monday, Tuesday morning, as we get a brand new school year off to a terrific start. Have a great day, everybody.